I think you could see the Capitol, can't you? I'm down here at the Capitol today. Let me know if you can hear me, because I sometimes have trouble with this audio. I'm using my phone today instead of my iPad. So make sure you hear me. I want to make sure y'all hear me. Down in the mall, see my heartfelt suit I have on. So can somebody tell me they hear me or not? So do you hear me? Do you hear me now? Do you not hear me? Do you? Oh, getting me worried. A lot of people here, but nobody said they hear me yet. Loud and clear. Great. Okay. Now, what I really want to talk about is the stimulus package, because they haven't voted on this yet. I mean, you think we have something now that came out of the White House, but it's nothing. And the other thing is that I think, the Congress isn't excited about doing things because they think the stimulus is over. It's not needed. That's what my fear is. And there's some data that just came out recently. Now listen to this data. It shows that if you make $66,000 a year or more, you're back to work and making the same income as you were before. Is that amazing? Okay. Now, $66,000 or less, you haven't come back yet. You're still like 20, 30, 40% lower than you have been before. That's at $66,000. So everybody making less than $60,000, $66,000 has not recovered. But see, my theory is that these people up here, well, they make $180,000. So they're not hanging around people who make $66,000 or less. They don't know anybody who's still hurting. Everybody they know is doing just fine, thank you. But that's half the country. Half the country is making less, and significantly less than when this stuff started. So they don't know anybody, so it's okay with them. And that's what's, I think, stopping a lot. And that's why you really have to call your elected official, to let them know, hey, there's a lot of folks out that are hurting. And sure, see, then they point to the economy. Well, the stock market's going through the roof. I think it doubled in value since this pandemic started. Housing market is going crazy. Why is that? Well, there's an argument for that, but it's all the rich people. What the hell? Only 10% of the people own 90% of the stock market. So if the stock market's going crazy, that's just helping 10% of the people. Who the hell cares? I think we have a lot more people going on. So the economy's going to solve itself. No. And then the housing market. Well, that's fine if you're buying a house. And also, because see what happens is the Federal Reserve is cutting interest rates to zero. So you could invest in houses, right? But who can do that? We can't even pay rent. Half the people in this country can't pay rent. So how the hell are they going to buy a house? So that's why it seems their policies and the indicators they're pointing at is not for half the country. Half the country is doing fine, thank you very much. And the other half of the country is still screwed. Thank you very much. Then the White House, and that data, if you want to look up this data, for Tom Peterson, Tompeterson, here it is. It was published in the Washington Post recently, and it takes it by income. Who's recovered so far from the pandemic and the stimulus and whatever, and who has not? And so that's right. So we have half the people not getting it. Who the hell knows when that's going to happen? We got a big stain on our economy and a big hurt, a big wound. I mean, this is like major surgery, on our economy. And so you just can't say, oh yeah, it's all gone, just run it off. No, people can't do that. And then, what happened is the White House said, okay, the Congress is not going to do anything, we'll do something. Well, here's the status of that. When they came out with that 2 weeks ago, that they're going to raise everybody's paycheck, who are unemployed, by $400. they said it'll all be in place in 2 weeks. Well, 2 weeks are up. And what's happening? Nada. Well, a little bit. Okay. First of all, here's what's happening on that. Number one, only one state is giving the amount, and it's only $300. So they're not giving the whole $400 because initially, the rules change all the time for this stuff. Initially, the state had to kick in an extra $100 a week, and then they'd say, oh, okay, maybe you don't have to. And there's all kinds of ifs, ands, or buts for all this stuff. So you have 13 states now, I think, say they may do it. And they have to figure out, it's going to take weeks, maybe months, for them to figure out the computers to do it. Okay, and that's only 13 states to do it. And let's see, so that's if they do it. So that's half the states. So far, only Arizona has reported sending an extra $300. And they are all supposed to do it. That's like 50 states, right? The White House also stipulated that the people receiving less than $100 of unemployment benefits from their states are not eligible for the $300. So if your unemployment benefit from your state is less than $100, you can't get this extra $300. You were getting $600 before, but now this new one, you can't get it. Now that's a little screwed up, huh? How many people knew that? Well, I'm sure not much. That's right, this stuff, anybody says they know the rules, no, you got to apply to find out the rules. Okay, so let me see if I can read this. Okay, receiving less than can effectively preventing as many as 1 million jobless. So as 1 million people unemployed won't be able to get it under the White House one, which manages the disaster relief fund. Okay, and actually the place this money is coming from, which is FEMA, they said that it will only last for 3 weeks. Okay, we're gonna have to wait. It said 2 weeks. So now 2 weeks, finally, one state is doing it, and you're only going to get it for 3 weeks. Okay, about 20 states have said publicly that they will apply for the program. Most are expected to need anywhere from at least a few additional weeks to a few additional months. So you have 20 more states that are going to apply. So this is less than half the states that say they're going to apply. And it may take them months to do that. And they'll probably vote something else in besides that. And actually here, the White House and congressional Democrats have not restarted meaningful negotiations since Trump's executive actions. And congressional aides do not expect talks to resume until Labor Day. So that means these people on Capitol Hill ain't gonna do boopkis until Labor Day, So that's another reason you gotta call these suckers, right? And that number on Capitol Hill at 202-224-3121, 202-224-3121. And just say where you live and they'll get your office for 2 senators and a congressman, okay? We have that, okay? This is interesting. The White House economist, now he's the guy who says everything's rosy. If you're in the top 10%, it's doing very well, actually. And if you're in the top half, you're at least making back your income. The bottom half is still screwed, But who cares? But they have to care because it's an election year. So you have more power now in the next 2 months than you will have for another 4 years. That's important. So Kudlow said, that's the White House guy, the administration's action to defer payroll taxes. Oh, that's another part of what they were doing, deferring payroll taxes. And they said, they're saying 140 million people are going to get a bonus. However, that's not true because roughly 30 industry groups say they're not going to do this. So industries are not going to give you a raise by not letting you pay taxes that you owe because you're going to have to pay them later. And then you'll owe like $3,000 at the end of the year. And then you're really screwed. So they don't see the thing of that. And also the White House said they put a stop to evictions. Well, I think they just did a little bit. That was very small too, because also the words in that thing is to consider not evicting. Consider not evicting. Who the hell, you either can or you can't. If you consider, you could. Well, you're going to have your mortgage guy consider whether they throw you out or not. Just consider. Holy shit. What is that? I don't know. State and local eviction moratoriums across the country are expiring, and census data suggests that 40 million, 40 million Americans fear losing their homes by the end of the year, a sharp increase from typical numbers. 40 million of us are going to worry about losing their home, you know. And that's why Jesus Christ, why can't we get some stuff together? Well, who knows? And that's why you have power yet. This is what a democracy is. You're going to keep them in their job or not. So you have the power. You're going to fire them or keep them in their job. You know, so you call them up and say, hey, this is what I'm voting about because I'm screwed. And you're giving money for the stock market. See, another reason the stock market is doing so well, my understanding is, and I'm an economist and I don't play one on TV, but I do have an MBA. I like economics. Is that, see, people are putting money in the stock market because interest rate, the Fed is making interest rates zero. So they don't want to buy government bonds or bonds anywhere. See, that's how investors do. They usually put money in bonds or the stock market. So they're putting all the money in the stock market because you get zero if you put it in the bonds. You know, but that's nice because you pay very little interest if you get a mortgage, and that's if you're rich enough to get a mortgage. So half the country is getting screwed, and we gotta let people know about it. Otherwise, they keep doing it. You know, people do what they have to do. You know, so I think one way to get their attention is that let me lose their job if they don't do this shit. You know. They can imply that, but if they hear it, every voice does count. You think, oh, it doesn't matter. It may or may not, but you know it won't matter if you don't call. It won't matter anyway. Sometimes, and now they get a lot of calls, so you think, but if you're pushing up that number, it's going to work. You know, if you're not doing anything, how the hell are they going to know? I mean, most of these people are good people. They have different motives, and we don't know where everybody's motives are. So you got to remind them that there's people like you out there that need help. And it's not going to happen by itself. And they have to do something about this. You know, and this is why it's coming up for election time. So that's why you have more power now than ever before. But there's a lot of the last stimulus, and I've been doing a lot of things out now, showing you how to find what's in the old stimulus package that isn't becoming available till now. Yeah. So look at my last videos. Last couple I did that. I show you how to research Google to find out all the old stimulus money that is finally being distributed. You know, this is one of the arguments they have. Oh, we haven't spent all the old stuff, and that's true. But you still don't have the monthly checks and things like that are even more important. But the temporary things help for rent, for mortgage, for utility bills, extra spending money, things like that. That's still being, shotgun, coming out here, there, everywhere, all over the country, and you gotta dig for that stuff. And you dig by going and Google, and that's what I did. The things I did in the last couple of things, though, you'll see how to search Google to make sure you don't get people selling you stuff, because that's what Google's about. They're selling advertising, so they're looking for people who want to advertise. People who advertise have to get money from you, but the free stuff, that's giving money for free, they don't advertise on Google, so it's hard to find them. So let me help ya. Bye-bye.